Did Hazel E. just expose one of the biggest secrets in the Blueface, Chrisean drama universe? Because if what she's claiming is even halfway true, then we're looking at a betrayal so messy, so unexpected, that the internet isn't ready for what comes next. Picture this: a late-night live stream, comments flying, fans arguing, and suddenly Hazel E. drops a quiet bombshell, one that instantly shifts the energy in the room. She leans in, almost whispering, almost trembling, and says she was allegedly pregnant with Blueface's baby. No dramatic buildup, no warning, just a truth she says she can't keep buried anymore. And the moment those words leave her mouth, the internet freezes. The timeline goes silent, then explodes louder than ever. And here's the part that has everyone conflicted. Hazel says this wasn't about clout, wasn't about attention, wasn't about stirring the pot. She claims she stayed silent out of fear of judgment, fear of being mocked, fear of being dismissed the way so many women in these celebrity circles are. But if she's telling the truth, then why is Chrisean Rock reacting the way she is? Why the immediate outrage? Why the shade? Why the panic? Something about this story isn't adding up, and once you hear the full details, you might realize nothing in this trio's world is what it seems. Hazel E. has always been one of those celebrities who feels more like a storyline than a person. From the moment she appeared on reality TV, fans saw her as the woman who spoke her mind with zero filter, who refused to be walked over, and who carried herself like someone who had already survived more drama than most people could imagine. Her public image has always been a mix of glam, heartbreak, resilience, and the kind of vulnerability that makes people root for her even when they don't fully agree with her choices. She's been the underdog, the outcast, the comeback queen, and the one who always seems to get dragged back into chaos no matter how hard she tries to escape it. Blueface, on the other hand, has built a reputation that almost feels designed for controversy. A young rapper with a rebellious image, he rose to fame on viral hits and an unapologetic, I do what I want attitude. His persona is loud, chaotic, unpredictable, the kind of presence that dominates timelines even when he's not actively trying to. Fans describe him as talented, messy, magnetic, and sometimes dangerously careless. Through all of this, one thing has remained consistent. Blueface attracts drama like a magnet, and his relationships often end up becoming bigger stories than his music. And then there's Chrisean Rock, the firestorm, the spotlight, the unstoppable force in this triangle. Chrisean built her fame through a mixture of reality TV appearances, viral clips, and her explosive romance with Blueface. She became known for her fierce loyalty, emotional intensity, and the raw, unfiltered way she expresses pain and love. Her public persona is turbulent but captivating. She cries loudly, she loves loudly, she fights loudly. To many fans, she represents a kind of wounded strength that makes her impossible to ignore. Her relationship with Blueface has been described as toxic, passionate, ride or die, and self-destructive, sometimes all in the same sentence. Put these three personalities into the same conversation, and it becomes obvious why the internet feels like it's watching a train that can't stop, even when it should. But before Hazel's alleged pregnancy confession, the public only knew fragments of these connections. Hazel E. had interacted with Blueface in ways that never raised eyebrows: collaborations, industry events, mutual acquaintances. There was never a loud, public relationship between them. Nothing that screamed romance. Nothing that signaled intimacy. Nothing that suggested a secret could be brewing beneath the surface. That's why this revelation hit people so hard. It didn't just come out of the shadows. It came out of a shadow nobody even knew existed. Fans immediately began digging for clues. Old photos resurfaced. Hazel smiling at a party where Blueface was just a few feet away, the two of them tagged in the same industry circles, moments where they appeared friendly, but nothing more. On Twitter, one user posted, "Y'all remember this clip? They were too comfortable on that couch," attaching a screenshot from a forgotten live stream where Hazel and Blueface laughed together about something off-camera. The comments underneath exploded instantly. Some called it receipts, others dismissed it as coincidence, but the timing suddenly felt suspiciously meaningful. And then there was the Instagram story Hazel posted months ago, one that didn't seem important at the time. A blurry picture of her hand resting on a table next to a positive pregnancy test emoji. No name tagged, no explanation. Just a caption that read, "Life is crazy." Fans had never linked it to Blueface.
No one even thought to.
But with the new allegation, that story was screenshotted, reposted, and analyzed frame by frame. Hazel herself had once tweeted something cryptic. "Some men don't deserve the secrets you keep for them." At the time, followers assumed she was talking about an ex or a friend who betrayed her. Now the context feels different. Heavier, sharper, almost prophetic. Meanwhile, Blueface's public image during the time Hazel claims this happened wasn't exactly stable. He was bouncing between relationships, getting into public fights, and sparking headlines for all the wrong reasons. His dynamic with Chrisean was already spiraling. Public arguments, breakup posts, reconciliations, tattoos, arrests, and live streams where emotions ran dangerously high. The two of them seemed to orbit each other with a force that was both magnetic and explosive. So when Hazel stepped forward with her story, fans immediately wondered, did this alleged pregnancy happen during a period when Blueface and Chrisean were still involved? Was there overlap? Did he hide something from her? Did someone lie? Or was someone left in the dark? These questions didn't just create curiosity, they created suspicion. The kind that makes people scroll endlessly, hoping to find a missing piece that makes everything click into place. To complicate things further, Chrisean's reaction didn't help tone down the fire. Instead of ignoring Hazel's claim, she allegedly went straight to Instagram Live, pacing around, voice shaking, repeatedly saying, "Nah, I don't believe that. I don't believe her. Why's she even talking now? For what?" It wasn't the reaction of someone indifferent. It was the reaction of someone who felt blindsided. Fans clipped every second of that live. One moment in particular went viral. Chrisean sitting on a couch, hands shaking, muttering, "If he did that behind my back." I swear she didn't finish the sentence, but she didn't have to. Her expression said enough. The betrayal she imagined in her head felt real, whether or not the claim was. And just like that, the story shifted from a simple allegation to something deeper, darker, and far more personal. Everything began quietly, so quietly that nobody realized the seeds of this scandal had been planted months before Hazel ever spoke a word. According to people close to the situation, the timeline starts way back when Blueface and Chrisean were in one of their off-again moments. They weren't broken up, but they weren't fully together either. They were in that emotional limbo that fans had become used to, unfollowing each other one day, posting love songs the next. During that unstable period, Blueface was reportedly spending more time outside the public eye, hitting events, studios, and after-parties, without the constant live streams shadowing his every move. This, sources say, is when Hazel and Blueface allegedly crossed paths more privately than the public ever knew. Not in a romantic way, at least not at first, but in the casual, industry-friendly way celebrities often do. A studio session here. A late-night conversation there. A moment that, according to one insider, looked innocent until it didn't. No one can confirm exactly when the line was crossed, but those close to Hazel insist something shifted after a particular night when she left an event early, looking pale and overwhelmed. Someone claims to have heard her on the phone whispering, "This wasn't supposed to happen." That moment sits quietly in the middle of the timeline, unconfirmed, blurry, but suspicious. Weeks later, Hazel reportedly withdrew from several public appearances, citing personal reasons. Around the same time, Blueface and Chrisean reignited their relationship drama, plastering it all over social media. Twitter went wild when Chrisean posted, "I can forgive a lot, but not lies. Fans assumed she was talking about Blueface flirting with another woman at a party. But now, months later, that tweet is being reinterpreted under a brand new spotlight. That's how betrayal begins online, slowly, quietly, through hints that don't make sense until the bigger picture crashes into view. Meanwhile, Hazel began posting vague messages about feeling misled, used, and abandoned. At the time, people assumed she was talking about a business deal that had gone wrong, or maybe an argument with an ex. No one suspected the real reason might be way more personal, and tied to someone like Blueface. Then came the turning point, the moment the timeline started moving toward the explosion. Hazel allegedly went to a private clinic after missing several cycles. According to someone who claims to be a friend, she was shocked but not panicked, emotional but not confused. She reportedly confided in one person, saying, "I'm not ready for this. And definitely not like this." That friend says Hazel tried reaching out to Blueface, but got inconsistent responses, messages seen but not replied to, calls not returned, conversations left unfinished. Around this time, Chrisean suddenly became more active online, posting about loyalty and trust while Blueface made cryptic comments about people lying for no reason. Fans noticed the timing, but nobody connected it to Hazel. Nobody even imagined the narrative could involve her. That's the thing about scandals. The truth lives in the shadows long before it ever hits the stage. As the weeks passed, Hazel reportedly struggled alone, uncertain, overwhelmed, unsure how to move. She wasn't making public statements. She wasn't being dramatic. She was simply trying to make sense of a situation she never expected. But behind the scenes, tension was brewing. One person close to Hazel said she felt erased, like she didn't matter, like she was disposable. That emotional wound would come back later, loudly. Then, as if fate wanted to stir the pot, Blueface and Chrisean rekindled their romance publicly, posting videos kissing, dancing, and laughing like the past never happened. Chrisean posted, "I always knew we'd find our way back." Blueface commented, "Real love always wins." Those posts hit Hazel hard, according to insiders. She reportedly broke down, feeling betrayed not just personally, but morally, like the truth had been buried beneath a public fairy tale that had no room for her pain. Layered in that betrayal was the public perception. Everyone was praising Blueface and Chrisean's reunion while Hazel silently held onto a story that didn't fit the narrative the world adored. Then came the spark that ignited everything. A gossip blogger posted a blind item about a reality star hiding a pregnancy by a rapper who's currently back with his most chaotic ex. Fans immediately guessed names, but no one guessed Hazel. Still, something about that post rattled her. Days later, Hazel went live, not with a plan, not with rehearsed lines, but with emotions spilling over like a dam breaking. In the middle of the live stream, she let it slip. "I kept this secret to protect everyone, but I was pregnant and he knows who he is." The internet exploded. Within minutes, screenshots, theories, timelines, and amateur investigations flooded Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, and Instagram. Fans combed through old clips, comparing dates, moods, backgrounds. Commentators started dropping reaction videos, some saying Hazel was brave for speaking out, others accusing her of chasing attention. A famous podcaster added fuel by saying, "If she's talking about Blueface, the whole game changes." And then, Chrisean heard the news. Her reaction wasn't calm. It wasn't measured. It wasn't pretty. She allegedly yelled off camera, slammed something, and kept repeating, "No.
No. No.
That's not true. That can't be true." The clip spread like wildfire, pulling millions of views in hours. That moment shattered the internet and set the stage for everything that followed. The moment Hazel E's claim hit the internet, the fallout was almost instant, like a spark that ignited an entire forest of drama waiting to burn. What began as whispers in comment sections quickly turned into full-blown discussions across every major gossip page. Reportedly, Hazel didn't just mention her alleged pregnancy in passing. Sources say she came prepared with screenshots, timelines, and cryptic posts hinting that she had been keeping a secret that wasn't hers to carry anymore. But the consequences of that reveal weren't just digital. Behind the scenes, insiders claim the tension between everyone involved skyrocketed. Blueface, who is already juggling legal situations, public controversies, and an unstable career arc, suddenly found himself standing at the center of yet another emotional earthquake. His team allegedly scrambled to control the narrative, quietly reaching out to blogs and urging them to wait for the truth before running with Hazel's claims. Yet, the internet had already made up its mind. This was messy, this was dramatic, and this was exactly the chaos they expected from him. Chrisean's reaction, however, shifted the story into an entirely different dimension. Her shocking response, equal parts disbelief, anger, and emotional exhaustion, was reportedly much deeper than just jealousy or rivalry. Those close to her say it felt like history repeating itself, another moment where she was forced to confront the possibility of Blueface betraying her trust. And even though the two weren't officially together, the emotional ties, the shared child, and the complicated bond they've maintained made the claim hit differently. Fans pointed out how her voice cracked in her live stream, how she would pause mid-sentence, as if trying to keep herself from saying something she couldn't take back. The consequences didn't end with emotions. There were social consequences, too. Commentators, bloggers, and influencers quickly jumped in. TikTok creators dissected Hazel's wording frame by frame. YouTubers made hour-long breakdowns comparing dates, past interviews, and receipts from both sides. Even industry insiders allegedly started questioning how deep the connection between Hazel and Blueface went, considering Hazel had recently been focused on rebuilding her life, motherhood, and rebranding after stepping away from previous controversies. But the biggest shock came when fans dug up older interactions between Hazel and Blueface, moments that seemed innocent at the time, but looked very different under this new spotlight. Screenshots resurfaced of old follows, unfollows, likes, comments, and industry events where they were photographed in the same vicinity. People began constructing entire timelines out of thin air, insisting there had been signs all along. Allegedly, one insider claimed they had noticed flirty energy months ago, though no one could confirm if that was true or just another addition to the growing rumor pile. Meanwhile, Blueface's mother jumped into the mix, reportedly posting cryptic statements about truth coming to light and people lying for attention. Fans weren't sure if she was calling out Hazel, defending her son, or firing shots at Chrisean again. And with every new message, the speculation grew deeper. Professionally, the scandal began to shadow Blueface's already fragile career. Promoters reportedly pulled back from bookings, unsure if associating with his name would bring attention or backlash. Even his pending projects were suddenly under scrutiny, with people questioning whether his public persona had become too unpredictable to support. For Hazel, the consequences were more complex. Some applauded her for speaking her truth, for refusing to hide something that may have impacted her life so dramatically. Others accused her of clout-chasing or reigniting old drama for relevance. Yet, the emotional weight behind her claim couldn't be dismissed so easily. Sources close to her say the entire situation brought up painful memories from her past, a reminder of the cycles she thought she had left behind. Her fans worried that she was being dragged into chaos she never asked for, while critics insisted this was just another chapter in her long history of controversies. And then there was Chrisean, caught between anger, pain, and confusion. The consequences for her weren't just public, they were deeply personal. Every time she tried to rebuild her life, it seemed like another bomb dropped out of nowhere. She reportedly told friends she was tired of being blindsided, tired of being made a fool of, tired of constantly defending herself in situations she never created. To many fans, this was yet another example of how emotionally exhausting her connection to Blueface had become. Even family members felt the impact. With children involved, multiple children from multiple mothers, the scandal raised serious concerns about stability, co-parenting, and long-term emotional effects. Critics questioned the environment these kids were growing up in, while defenders argued that the internet was blowing everything out of proportion. But no matter which side people took, the tension was undeniable. By the time the dust settled, at least temporarily, the scandal had exposed the stark contrast between public image and private reality. Blueface, who often portrayed himself as carefree and in control, now looked like someone juggling too many secrets. Hazel, once painted as dramatic and unpredictable, suddenly appeared vulnerable and honest in her admission. And Chrisean, known for being fiery and chaotic, showed unexpected rawness and emotional depth that even her critics couldn't ignore. All three found themselves forced to confront the consequences of choices, whether real, alleged, or imagined, that would follow them long after the trending hashtags faded. And the public? They were left wondering, if this is what played out online, what must have been happening behind the scenes all along? And honestly, after everything we just broke down, this story feels far from over. From Hazel E's shocking claim about being pregnant with Blueface to Chrisean Rock's emotional, jaw-dropping reaction that left the entire internet speechless, this has been one of the most unexpected twists in the Blueface, Chrisean universe so far. The timelines, the hidden connections, the cryptic posts, the alleged behind-the-scenes drama, every piece of this puzzle just raised more questions than answers. But now I want to hear from you. Do you think Hazel E was telling the truth, or could this be another case of social media spiraling out of control? Did Blueface betray people's trust yet again, or is he being dragged into something that isn't what it seems? And what about Chrisean? Did her reaction show genuine pain, or was she simply tired of being pulled into Blueface controversies? If you were in her position, how would you have reacted? Do you think this drama is finally reaching its breaking point, or does it feel like the beginning of something even bigger? Because, let's be real, every time we think the storyline is calming down, someone drops a bombshell that flips the whole internet upside down again. And with all three of them now under the microscope, it wouldn't be surprising if more receipts, more statements, or even more plot twists start surfacing any minute. So go ahead, drop your thoughts in the comments.
Whose side are you on?
What do you believe really happened? And should we keep digging deeper into the saga? If you want updates the second the next twist hits, make sure you follow, like, and share, because this is one story the internet will definitely not let die anytime soon.